Hello students, Michael Sanchez here. Thank you so much for watching. Today is a fiddle class. We're going to be talking about sliding on the fiddle. For those of you guys that don't know, sliding is basically where you're taking a note and you're sliding into it like this. There's two different ways. You can go slide upwards or downwards, and it really kind of flavors a fiddle piece to make it sound a lot more different than classical music. We have an instructor with us today that's going to help out and contribute to the class. Her name is Evelyn. Evelyn, how are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Very good, very good. Evelyn, tell us a little bit about yourself, where you're from, and how long you've been teaching the fiddle for.
Well, I'm from Newfoundland and Labrador, Canada. So if you look at your map, we're the big island off the east coast, as far east as you can go in North America. And I've been playing for over 30 years and teaching for over 20. So I teach both violin and fiddle music.
Excellent. The Newfoundland has a kind of a totally different style compared to a lot of other styles out there. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, it's a really big province, so we have a bunch of different styles, but there's some French influence, some Irish influence, some Scottish influence, some English influence, and Canadian and American influence. So, but generally it's a straight ahead sort of style with heavy beats and made for dancing.
Very cool. I highly encourage you guys to visit YouTube and check out some of that style. There's tons of different styles out there of fiddle, like bluegrass music, old time music, Irish, Newfoundland. So definitely check that out. It's they all have their different characteristics to them. It's a lot of fun to play. Today we're going to be working out of the You Can Teach Yourself Fiddling book. So some of you guys have that. If you don't, you can get it on Amazon just by typing in the title. And we're going to be working through this book for a while. We have in the past as well. And we're kind of going to focus on pages 10 through 13 today. And I'm going to introduce, how to slide and then actually apply them to the tunes. So let's first learn an up slide, which is, like I said, when you go this way, that's what we're going to call an up slide. I do have my stickers here to kind of show you guys where you're sliding to. You have your first finger sticker, second finger sticker, third finger, and 4. So we're going to start with second finger. So what you have to do with an up slide is you slide into the pitch, no farther. You start off a half step below. So this would be the motion for an up slide for F sharp. If you did this with a first finger, you'd be starting off at the point of an E flat and sliding into the sticker like this. If you did with a G with a third finger on the D string, you would start actually off at the second finger sticker and slide into the G like that. So here's a first finger slide, second finger slide, and a third finger slide. And basically what you do is you put these into certain spots in fiddle tunes, and it kind of gives it a certain flavor. It's done a lot in Irish music. And any of these tunes that we're going to play, I'll give you guys some pointers on where to put them, but it's really up to the player. Just it should be flexible. It's not like classical where you have to do it at certain spots or it's required at certain places. It's very flexible. So I'm actually going to play them now so you guys can kind of hear how they're supposed to sound like. Again, I'm going to kind of stick to the D string. So here's an up slide on the D string for an E. If you guys want to try this at home. Like that. Make sure that you have your hand up high. Don't dip down and go up and down like this. That's kind of bad technique. That promotes you being out of tune and not being able to play fast. So you have to keep your hand up high and only move the finger. So you're going to have to kind of squeeze back and forth like this for the slide. So let's try that again. It's like that. All right, let's try now a second finger up slide on the D string, if you guys want to try this as well. So we're going to start off where the F natural is and slide into the F sharp. It's like that. And finally, let's try the G. It's like that. So all those are going to be potential slides in the piece. But before we go on, let's talk to Evelyn a little bit about some of her takes on sliding and how to get the best possible sound out of your slides.
Sliding, like you were saying, is often done in Irish music. It's done very little in Newfoundland music, but it's pretty popular in some American styles. I would say that when you're starting your slide, you want to start it, depending on your style, possibly on the beat and slide in so that you're not, so you start your note from below and come up. You want to watch that you're not going to start it too early, because that's going to cut off the note from the sound from the note before, and you don't want to hold it too long. So I also like to do slides. I do them rarely for myself, but on longer notes. So at the end of a phrase or at the top peak of the phrase as an ornament, just to make it stand out a little more.
Great, thank you so much, Evelyn. Like she said, you definitely don't want to put too many in a piece. It just kind of overfloods it with that sound that you don't want, too much of it. But yeah, longer notes is definitely a great place to put them on. So if we look at Liza Jane, page 10, as you can see, there's a bunch of quarter notes and one half note and one whole note. So what you could do is you could say put a slide on maybe one of the quarter notes in there, and then slide on maybe one of the long notes in there. So here's Liza Jane, line 1, played straight. So let's add in some slides in there. So let's do one maybe on the second measure. And there I actually slid with my fourth finger, which is going to be tougher than sliding with 1, 2, and 3. So that definitely isn't easy. So maybe those ones would be a little bit harder for you, so you don't have to do those. But again, it's all just up to the flexibility of the player, and you can do really whatever you want. But yeah, just a couple times in the first line is good. All right, let's try line 2. I'm going to put a couple slides in. It's like that. And line 3. This is line 4. Just like that. So yeah, that's going to definitely flavor your fiddle pieces. And that was Liza Jane, page 10. Evelyn, any thoughts on just getting that really good sounding slide? I mean, do you find that some students maybe tense up a little bit when they start to do those slides?
Yeah. You want to keep your finger heavy enough to keep the string depressed enough to make a good tone, but you don't want to strangle it. So if you're tensing your hand to do the slide, if I can get you to see this here, but if you're doing this, you're not going to be able to slide very well. You're going to get stuck part way, and it's not going to sound very good. So a good slide is going to sound. And so if you tense up like that, it's going to be hard to get the end point exact.
Thank you very much. So yeah, a lot of the things that we talk about with violin lessons applies, to really getting a good slide, being relaxed in your left hand, not tensing up. Also the right hand, making sure that we're not gripping the bow too tight. When that slide comes, it's going to be really easy to maybe want to tense up the right hand. So you have to stay relaxed. Don't change anything in the right hand. Just keep your bow flow going, relaxed wrist, everything like that. You'll be able to do it. But yeah, it's really important to keep those knuckles up no matter what. So this is kind of the angle from what you would see from here. So you see how the knuckles are up high, they're not flat. If they were actually, a lot of times students are even this low when they're doing these slides. So make sure you're up high like this, knuckles up high. Like that. So even though I'm doing the slide, I'm still keeping my hand up. Cool. All right, so that was Liza Jane. So definitely work on that this week. Let's go on to Camp Town Races. So this song is in the key of A major. So let's quick do the A major scale on the A string and E string. So I had a high 2 on the A string and high 2 on the E string, which is G sharp. So those are two important notes. Make sure they're right next to your third finger. So we're going to put in some slides in here. So maybe in measure 2 with a half note, that would be a good place to slide. And then we also have a dotted half note, 3 beats in measure 3. So let's try the first line. So that would have been a couple spots to slide. So yeah, try it now by yourself and see if you guys can do some sort of different combination of slides. So you don't have to do exactly what I just did. That would probably be a good way to open up your mind a little bit, to not just follow whatever I do. You got to kind of get in that different mindset when it comes to fiddle that doesn't have to be a certain way every time, like classical. All right, and then let's try line 2. All right, Evelyn, any suggestions for that particular piece? Do you find students maybe have trouble sliding on different notes more than others, or different strings or anything like that?
I'd say the third finger is a hard one to slide for. 1 and 2 are fairly easy, but 3 and 4 are much more difficult. So I'd probably advise practicing those slides independently.
Very good, thank you. Also, Stephen is joining us today. He was in classes yesterday. Stephen McMullen, how you doing, Stephen?
Thanks. Doing well.
Thank you for joining us. So, yeah, do you have any suggestions for students that are working on fiddle pieces? Maybe things related to tension. You know, it's really easy when you learn a new concept, you know, any new concept like sliding, to tense up and kind of change the left or the right hands. Do you have any suggestions for students?
You mean in general for left hand technique?
Well, anytime students learn, you know, sliding or any new concepts, typically there's some sort of added tension. Do you have any suggestions for students that maybe are struggling to get a good sound with the slide?
I think one of the details that needs to be mentioned when we when either we change the position of the hand to play in higher ranges on the strings, or when we just move a single finger, there's a little bit of a moment where the finger is solidly focused on the tone that you're playing, and then there's that little moment that takes place where the pressure has to come off of your finger, but it's still resting against the string. And so by releasing the amount of pressure, the friction is decreased on the fingertip. And so the slipping motion can take place more easily. I find that sometimes when a student is new to shifting or moving the finger on a half tone, they are unaware that releasing the pressure on the tip of their finger is going to make this motion more easily executed. They're sometimes grinding into the fingerboard and then finding it very difficult to move a finger. Also, I like Evelyn's mention of the problems with the third finger and the fourth finger. You know, our hands and our muscles and tendons are not built very well for adjusting this finger sideways. And so it takes extra practice in order to get some accuracy with the third finger. It's just a weak part of our hand, but we can train that.
Thanks, Stephen. By the way, guys, sorry, there's a thunderstorm here, so just in case you're wondering what that was. Very good. So let's complete the last 2 lines of Camp Town Races, and then I'm actually going to take questions from the audience that are listening today. So I'm going to put in some slides in some different spots. So line 3. All right, so that was the end of Camptown Races. Thank you guys so much for listening so far. Let's take some questions from the audience. We're going to go to gallery view here. Anybody want to raise their hand and ask something related to playing the fiddle or these 2 songs in particular? Feel free to ask. We also are able to take questions via chat. So it's a great feature that we're allowed to interact with so many students from all over the world. So you guys want to raise your hand, feel free this time. They might be shy today, we'll see. Eric, I unmuted you, go ahead.
Okay, we will see a little bit later the downslide.
Yes, good question. That would be something I think we'll include, yeah, in the next class. We're just starting with up slides just to make it simple. But yes, downslides is another technique you can do on the fiddle, for sure.
Okay, so we'll see that later. Thank you.
Thank you for asking. Any other questions? Sarah from Mexico, how are you doing?
I'm fine, good. For this lesson, what is the most easy hand position for this lesson?
Sure. Evelyn, do you want to take that? I'll unmute you. There you go.
Okay. I think I was unmuting myself at the same time you were muting me.
Yeah.
The hand position for the slide, I'd say that it should be basically a normal hand position that you would regularly have with, as Michael was saying, with your fingers up and over the strings so that they're curled like that. And then you need the base of your first finger to be able to slide along the neck. So that, for example, if you're doing a first finger slide, you're going to pull back slightly and then slide like that. Now, I'll do that with the violin on my shoulder. So if I'm playing a first finger slide, it's going to look something like that. I'll just reach back and then my finger is going to slide. Did you see that okay? And then for the second finger, the hand's not going to move along the neck as far, but it needs to be able to, if you're squeezing between your thumb and your first finger, it's going to really restrict you.
Great, thank you, Evelyn. What do you think is, the importance of keeping the hand high and then just using the finger? Do you think that's important and not using too much of the hand?
I think for the first finger slide, sometimes you're going to have to bend your wrist a little to reach back to the B flat to slide back up. So if my wrist goes like that just for a second and comes back up, that's okay. And then, your hand and your wrist needs to be flexible and supple is probably the best word. So that it'll come back to where its main resting spot is. So that it's movable, but it doesn't get stuck anyway. Then with the fingers higher, it just allows you to reach better and to produce a better tone on the strings because of the angle that you're approaching the string.
Thank you very much. Great. Well, I'm so glad you guys watched this class today. Hope you guys learned something about sliding. We're going to be talking about some more fiddle stuff here soon. Hope to have you guys in on the actual live class soon. I know a lot of you guys maybe are busy during this time, but we will be doing the same class actually later tonight at 8 o'clock. So please join us then. Have a great day.